Yeah. I think that girl's finally doing her tricks. She said she was gonna do tricks. They're gonna film it with the drone
Yeah.
because that's comedy related, right? Doing like acrobatics in an alley behind a comedy club
With your
with a
ass out.
drone. Uh huh.
Yeah, that's what comedy is. That's gymnastics and comedy.
Oh, I think they kicked them out. I believe that's the little girl and her father that both signed up,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
maybe they didn't kick them out. Maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to come back till 8.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I would want to. I think if I brought my daughter here, I'd want her to be in the alley the least amount of time as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wonder how many children have signed up. I know none have gotten on.
Yeah. Well, David Lucas's daughter was a guest.
Yeah, she skipped the.
She's like 2.
She skipped the whole signing up part. She went
Yeah.
right to the
Fucking nepotism.
right to the table.
Literally a nepo baby.
One of the best guests too, from what I hear.
It was pretty funny because like somebody had a really bad set and they're like, Luna, what do you think? She's like, bye bye.
That's funny.
Yeah, but then it's just like, man, this feels like child abuse because
Well, it
he's
sounds
like,
like she was the one abusing.
he's like vaping in her face and shit.
Oh, who was?
Lucas.
Oh.
Yeah, because he vapes when he's on stage, which like. I'm not gonna say I haven't vaped on stage, but I feel like if it was like a broadcasted, I might not vape for a little bit
Around your child?
around my child.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything wrong with secondhand vape.
I'll probably never vape around my daughters just because I don't want to look like. I don't want to say gay, but that is the right word. I don't want to look gay.
It is kind of gay. Vaping is somewhat feminine, I believe.
Yeah. And like I'd rather just hit a blunt in front of my daughter, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my dad's cool.
He's a gangster. Then you vape and it's like, ugh. He definitely plays a lot of Street Fighter.
Oh, you think playing Street Fighter is gay?
A little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. Looking at muscular, ripped men all day.
I mean, I pick Ryu, and he's definitely pretty clothed. You know, he's wearing a full gi.
Even a gi is kind of gay. It's in the name.
Is a gi gay?
Yeah, that's what the G in LGBT is. Lesbian gi.
There are some almost naked men, and
Yeah.
There's like a wrestler that is like a Russian built huge wrestler that has scars all over his body from fighting bears. And then
Yeah.
there's the sumo wrestler. That's yours. But he's ripped in the game. It's a ripped sumo wrestler.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's weird to me is the fact that, okay, so like dressing the women like whores, I get it, because this is a male targeted game.
Yeah.
But dressing the men like whores, it's like, who asked for this? Like, how many kids do you think didn't know they were gay until they played Street Fighter?
Well, most of the male characters aren't dressed like almost naked. It's just a couple.
Yeah. But even the couple are questionable. Yeah. And I mean, actually, all the women are pretty uncovered, right?
There might be a couple that are, but even if they do have pants on, it's like skin
see-through,
tight.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like they took the legs and then they just like used the bucket tool and just colored it something different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I tried learning how to play with who I thought was the hottest female character.
Yeah, was she awful?
I mean, she might be a good character, but I can't play with her.
Yeah.
It's not fun. She doesn't have any moves besides.
Men will never understand women.
Yeah, she's a wrestler like that dude I was talking about, that big bear fighting dude.
Yeah.
And so all her moves, you have to like grab the person, and that's the move. And no projectiles, no. I mean, there is like one flying move, but it's not. It's called the flying peach. I bet you know what she does. Can you guess what that move consists of?
She bites their head off with her pussy. She jumps to the air, just fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's more of a Mortal Kombat move, you know?
Yeah. And then she gives birth to their head, and you get a little congratulations screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it tells you how much their head weighs, and every character's head weighs a different amount.
Is that true? Because
no, I don't know.
Well, that probably is true, right? Because there's bigger heads than.
Yeah.
But I always remembered the scene from Jerry Maguire where the little kid says
the human head weighs 9 pounds.
8 pounds.
8 pounds.
And that sounds general, because like
Yeah.
Beetlejuice's head.
Oh, Beetlejuice's head definitely weighs less. That's like a 5-pound head. Like that's like when you go to the bowling alley and like the pink ball that's
Yeah.
like the lightest. That's Beetlejuice's head.
Like if there was a produce section for craniums,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, same price each,
Yeah.
like you'd put Beetlejuice's head back.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously general because you can't tell me that Beetlejuice and like Wee Man's head weigh the same amount,
Yeah.
especially midget heads because they're bigger.
Well, okay, now there's the large head midgets.
But even so even if we're taking out people that are different, I don't want to say deformed, but different.
Yeah, it's
Differently formed.
differently
if you
formed.
will.
Deformed.
Deformed. And even just comparing like two people like fucking The Rock's head and Kevin Hart's head.
Absolutely. I would have to give The Rock 2 pounds of head on Kevin.
That'd give The Rock fucking all the head he wanted.
Yeah. How about Dwayne Johnson?
Rock the Johnson, Dwayne.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's the same. It's the same guy, right?
Obviously, yeah.
I've never
it's
seen
the
them in a
same.
room together.
Yeah. You wouldn't even have to hit rock bottom to be that rock's bottom.
Fucking shit, I'd bottom for The Rock.
Right?
I'd rock his bottom.
Yeah. Peg the Rock.
Ooh, yeah.
You know how built you'd have to be to forcibly peg The Rock
To
against his will?
forcibly, yeah. Okay, I was gonna say if he's consenting, it doesn't. You don't have to be that buff, but
Well, yeah,
if
anyone.
he's not
Beetlejuice
consenting,
could peg The
all right,
Rock
who do you
if he's
think,
consenting.
Who do you think is physically capable of raping The Rock?
Okay. Like real people?
Conor McGregor?
I can think
do
of
you think
some.
Conor McGregor could rape The Rock?
No,
No.
no,
All right, what about Mike Tyson?
no,
You don't think Mike Tyson could rape The Rock?
no. Now?
Prime Mike Tyson.
So, okay. Now, check that out. If you knock your opponent unconscious and then rape them,
That doesn't count. He
That
has
doesn't
to
count?
Be, no, he needs to
He
be
has
conscious.
to still be conscious?
Yes.
well, then the Mike Tyson is taken out because
So are you saying The Rock is unrapeable?
he's
There's
very
got to
hard to
be
rape.
somebody.
He's very hard to rape.
Well, yeah, he's got his rape stats all the way up, but there's got to be somebody that could penetrate him in his defenses.
But the thing is, consciously is tough, you know? Like, unconsciously, I could see it, but I can't think. We'll have to come back. Maybe if you know someone that you think could rape The Rock.
Comment below who you think could rape The Rock.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I think that's funny because it's like a lot of podcasts. It's like, comment below your favorite upcoming singer. And it's like, who could rape Dwayne Johnson?
I mean, it's a good question.
It is. I think it's a legitimate question.
And he needs to know, too, so he knows who to avoid.
Yeah. Dude's out here scheming, preying on his downfall.
Yeah. But,
Now, okay, here's
also, what
a
I want to know,
harder
if there's a
list.
woman that could do it, that's even more interesting.
Yeah. Well, here's a harder list. Who could not rape Kevin Hart?
Yeah. Also, if you know of someone that wouldn't be able to rape Kevin Hart, comment that below as well.
Beetlejuice. Do you think Beetlejuice has like retard strength?
You know, he's not built very he's not very
Effectively,
muscular. It's like,
Yeah, he's got a bad build when it comes to functioning as a human.
yeah.
Very funny build, for sure. Comedic. He's built like a joke.
Uh-huh. And his head's the punchline.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what God was thinking. He was like, God was like, I'm going to just have a little fun with
Man,
this one.
Don't bring God into this. And you also notice Beetlejuice, he never brings up God. He never thanks God. He never says glory to
you
God.
think he would believe? Would you believe in God?
I'm
I don't believe in God in the form that I'm in,
Yeah.
let alone as Beetlejuice. It is always like homeless people always bring up God.
Yeah.
Like I feel like okay, like the whole like I saw a homeless dude the other day, and he had a sign about like I'm a born again Christian. God bless America. Like basically give me money I'm a born again Christian. I love America. Give me money.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's crazy because America is why you're like this.
Why don't you like work at a church or something?
Yeah. To me, that's like if a woman, like if a husband like beat the shit out of a woman, she's like no teeth, and she's wearing a shirt that says like I love my husband.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Look at what he's done to you. Look at what God hasn't, look at where God and America have put you, and you're still faithful to that shit.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is you think that God will protect you, so you don't take care of the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's
and
a
then,
crutch.
And then if things happen poorly for you, you say, oh, well, this is God's plan.
This is part of his plan.
It's mysterious how I don't have any food in my belly, but, it's very, it's mystery.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, suffering is part of God's plan. Well, that's a shitty plan.
Of course. Yeah. I'm just too spontaneous to believe in God, I don't like a plan, I want to be able to just...
It's funny. Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, well, it's like also... It's weird because they never can answer the question of like, okay, so do we have free will or does God control everything? And then they're like, well, it's both. And it's like, what? What do you mean it's both? It can't be both.
Yeah.
Either we have free will and everything we do and the consequences of it are our own doing, or it's God's plan. Because the people that say everything is God's plan, it's like, okay, what about gay people? And it's like, oh, well, they strayed. And it's like, but you just said he has a plan for everybody. So his plan is to make this guy suck cock and go to hell?
Maybe to scare other people, so that they don't go to hell.
But why does it matter if he has a plan? If he has a plan, then you shouldn't be able to be scared or tempted into anything.
Yeah.
It's just such bullshit. It's ridiculous. People still believe in it like that.
Oh, I mean, I completely... I understand why people believe in it. It's kind of like what you just said. You give two options that you feel like it has to be one or the other, and they'll say, well, it's both. And I do feel like that's the same way with, if you ask me if God exists, it's kind of like both as well. Like, he doesn't actually exist, but as far as he might as well exist the way people live their lives, like he does exist, right?
Yes,
the idea of him exists.
The concept of him is very strong. So in a way, they have it like self-fulfilling prophecy. They have kind of willed him into some sort of existence.
Yeah.
But as far as there being like an omnipresent person that gives a fuck about us, not person, but omnipresent force that gives a shit about humanity, I find that very hard to believe.
Right.
And if you believe in that, what cool. Click off. No, just kidding. No, but it's
they've
like
clicked off. I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is the first episode, they've definitely are.
They're gone. But
no. If they listen to our first episode, they probably did not make it past the first episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we speak like we're God fearing.
No. And it's hard because it's like I don't want to seem like I hate people just for believing in God, because that's not the issue. Just believing in God, having your own coping mechanism. Like, if you believe in Santa Claus, it doesn't affect me. That's fine. But if you tell me that, Santa Claus is going to butt fuck me if I'm gay or something, like...
What's the song? Is there a song for that one?
Here Comes Santa Claus. He fucks you if you're naughty. But,
yeah. He knows when you're asleep.
He doesn't care if you're awake.
Yeah.
But, yeah, whatever you believe, fine. But also, don't tell me I should believe in it. Don't push it on me.
Also,
that was the worst.
Also, if you're an atheist, if I did believe in God, and I've been friends with atheists that try to get people to not believe in God, it's just as annoying.
That's also wrong. Yeah. It's preaching on either side is fucking annoying. Let people believe what they want to believe. But also... be aware that there are bad people that are atheists. There are bad people that are Christians. Yeah. And I feel like the amount of bad people that are Christians is a lot higher. As far as the...
I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of people need it, and it helps them behave. And if they
I mean, like, on a large scale, like the large atrocities that have happened because of Christianity, and, like, the Catholic Church alone, the amount of children that have been abused with God as an excuse for it. and the way that it is used to create power and give to people to abuse that power. There's nothing really like that with atheism or Satanism, like people talk about. There's nothing on as large of a scale as it is Christianity, where power is being abused and people are being abused.
Okay, yeah, I could see it's possible, but there's so many more Christians. Well, just any religion. There's so many more religious people on Earth than non-religious, and I wonder how many of those people, if there was no religion, if they'd be more evil, if they'd commit more atrocities, if there wasn't for religions. Because I think
it would be harder for them to gain power. But I mean, also, if you are a power hungry, abusive person, and if you're smart enough to take advantage of people's weaknesses, even if it wasn't religion, you'd probably find some other way to take advantage of people. Like, because Scientology isn't really religious, right? It is a religion, but it's not really God. It's like other shit, right? I can't say I know a lot.
From what I believe that L. Ron Hubbard created this like system.
Yes.
And that so they follow his system, but they don't necessarily believe that he was
a prophet or anything.
There wasn't like a God, I don't believe, that told him.
Yeah, so there's no like higher power there, but they've still created this like scam that they con people into believing, getting their money. I'm sure a lot of people have been sexually abused or otherwise abused because of it. Financially, primarily. Financial abuse.
For sure.
Emotionally abused. So he didn't even have to use religion. And to be honest, I think that he was obviously a pretty smart dude in an evil way. Evil smart. But like, because he's appealing to people that don't necessarily believe in God. Because the people that believe in God and that buy into the religion stuff, it's like, okay, well, that section is covered. They've found a way to take advantage of those people. How can I take advantage of people that have money and don't believe in God? And he found like that niche to abuse.
Interesting. It's like he found the people who think they're too smart to believe in some fantasy
and outsmarted them,
and created a system that probably works for people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's probably like a logical, like, if you do this, I mean, I believe one of the things that they tell you to do is
a lot of it is working through trauma and stuff, right?
I believe that one of the things that they tell you to do is to be present.
Yes.
And that's why if you ever see like Tom Cruise, a lot of the time he's like really, really present, and like he's like really trying hard to listen to everything that you say, which is a good.
And yeah, and that's the thing about religion, is that it usually, any religion, any cult like that, they take positive aspects and they work them in. Because if it was all just give me your money and I'm gonna abuse you, nobody would fucking do that. But if you give people skills like, okay, well, be charitable, be kind to people, also give me your money.
Now those are like Christian, very typical Christian things about being kind and donating and stuff, taking care of. But like with Scientology, it's almost, they tell you more.
Scientology is more like personal growth, where it's like, so the people that shit doesn't appeal to, where it's like, well, be kind to others. They're like, yeah, I don't really, and they're like, this is gonna make you better and more successful, and they go, okay, I'll do that then.
And then they tell you, then once you have wealth, and then you can be kind to others, which I think makes a lot more sense. So like,
but Scientology mostly targets the already wealthy, doesn't it? Like
well,
celebrities.
Of course, they would rather have the already wealthy.
Yeah.
But I mean, the amount of unfamous or non-famous, non-wealthy people when you add them all together.
Yeah.
Like when presidential campaigns, the donations, it's like such a small amount that is from, like, even though they're huge donations, from most of it is like $5, $10, $20 donations, because when you add them all up. So they still have to focus on mostly, I mean, it's almost like probably for them, it's like influencers. Like
I think that also it's smart also because he's appealing, because I think a lot of celebrities probably do struggle with a sense of purpose and happiness. Because
who's appealing? L. Ron Hubbard?
Scientology. Like, I think a lot of celebrities have a general, like, emptiness, because you do kind of, I think, even with small amounts of fame, you kind of lose yourself a little bit. You turn into somebody that's like, well, I just want to please other people, because if I don't please other people, I'm not going to have my job anymore. This is my living. I'm in the public eye all the time.
Yeah. And your idea for what you thought fame was gonna be.
Yeah.
And
You already
it
have
won't
all
be.
the things that are supposed to make you happy, and you're not happy. And so then they tell you, well, this is a path to happiness, and look at all the other celebrities that are doing this, and
Yeah.
they get them to market it to each other.
Right.
It's a real clever grift.
Yeah. Is comedy any different? Do you think from? Is it that much different? As if we think
From
about religion, and like selling a dream that you have a chance to be rich and famous.
any semblance of fame, no matter what the path is to get there, any kind of selling fame is, yeah, because it appeals to everybody's just primal need to be loved and to be liked, as well as money is another aspect in there. But it's also, I think everybody deep down, you want people to love you, you want people to like you. Even people that say they don't want to be famous,
Yeah.
they want to be famous. Everybody wants to be a little famous.
You know the people who have the least amount of need for love and attention from others?
Who?
People who love themselves.
Yeah. Which is I think that's a pretty small portion of the population. People that truly love themselves. There's narcissists. There's people that think they love themselves. But I think people that truly, genuinely love themselves is very rare.
Yeah?
Yes. Well, I mean, I feel like we talk to a shit ton of people, and it's pretty rare that we meet anybody where it's like, this is a happy person who loves themselves. Mostly because we talk to comedians.
We
And,
talk to comedians that
yeah.
are on our level.
Yeah.
So we talk to non-successful comedians, non-famous comedians for the most part.
Yeah.
Or if we do talk to famous comedians, they're newly famous. It's not like they have like a long time being rich and famous. It's like,
fresh.
It's fresh. And but yeah, when I met comedians when I did the road and I was opening for headliners, maybe they weren't famous, but I felt like a lot of them seemed happy because they have the job they want.
Yeah.
They're doing what they love, and
but they're not so famous that it becomes detrimental.
sometimes they want to be famous still,
Yeah.
and that still bugs them.
Yeah.
But some of them, it was like, if they're okay with where they're at, and if they get more famous, cool. If not, they
I
already
still get
have
to
they're
do this
living
for
their
a
dream.
living.
Right.
Yeah. This is my job.
They seem the happiest.
Yeah.
And some of them since then have gotten famous.
Yeah.
It's
just that's a very hard thing to achieve now without already having fame and followers because of the way that clubs are run now.
Right. Unless you make your own thing, unless you go to a bar or a brewery and convince them to let you run something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the art of stand-up comedy is becoming less and less important when people will buy tickets whether or not the person is skilled in stand-up comedy.
If they make TikToks.
Right.
Or if they're a YouTuber or whatever. It's just, oh, well, I like this person. I want to hear them talk. And stand-up is the first thing that they think of because, you can't go on stage and just film TikToks.
Right. Yeah. So, like, we're losing a sense of respect for
the art
of stand-up, which is obviously an annoying thing to say, but it's because
true.
Crowds don't care if they'll buy a ticket because they want to see someone.
It's less
in
about
person.
how you are; it's who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the time, you'll see that they're commenting, "Will there be a meet and greet afterwards?" Like they don't even care about
the show.
They
just want to be close to this person.
They want a picture. They want to be attached to them for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it's just the internet has created such like a parasocial relationship with a lot of these people because it's like also whenever most of these TikTokers they do videos where they're talking into the camera and on on a level that feels like they're just talking to you. It feels very personal. It feels very face-to-face communication, and so people get really attached to these people, and they feel like they're talking to them. Especially like Stephen Ho, that he's a TikToker that does. They were talking about him at the riot because he had just headlined there.
Yeah.
And he's a TikToker that does stuff about being a doctor, hospital stuff, the drama, dealing with shitty doctors, dealing with good doctors, And the whole show was like healthcare professionals. They all came because
The crowd?
yes, yeah. So the whole show was like other doctors that feel like he's really talking to them. And they were all like, there's a ginormous line to talk to him after. Like, everybody wanted to talk to him.
And he is headlining a comedy club?
Yeah. Apparently he's gotten better because somebody else has been writing for him. But apparently, like, at first, because they had him there like a while back, or somebody saw him a while back, and he was really bad. Like, really bad at stand-up. Because he's not a stand-up.
Right.
He's a TikToker.
When they saw him, he was headlining this sold-out show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was still selling out, but he
Right.
was dog shit at comedy.
Yeah.
And he actually did, I mean, I respect that he actually did the work to get better, even if you have someone else write for you. I don't think there's shame in that if you can afford it, and it shows that you care. You know, if you're paying someone to write for you, it bothers me a little bit on a level, but I would rather get somebody to write for them, care about the audience, care about putting on a good show, and at least care a little bit about comedy, getting a comedian to write for him.
Right.
So there's that at least. I mean, I'm happy he did that, but I think a lot of them don't. A lot of them just don't really give a shit, and they're like, whatever, I sell out anyways. Doesn't matter if I do well. Doesn't matter if I'm funny. They'll laugh even if I'm not funny.
Yes. And so it's up to the crowds to be like, hey, if you like this influencer, that's great. You know, if you want to buy something from them, anything. But like, buying a ticket to see them do stand-up comedy because you want to see them in the flesh.
Yeah.
You want a chance to maybe meet them afterwards.
Yeah.
It really hurts. It hurts
comedy.
Clubs. It hurts comedians. It hurts comedy in general because
there's also probably a handful of people that just wanted to go out that night and see comedy. Not as many, but there's probably 3 or 4 people that just want to watch comedy. And they buy a ticket thinking it'll be comedy, and it's just some TikToker that they don't know.
Yeah.
And then they go, wow, comedy sucks, and then they never fucking come back to
Right.
comedy. And then we've just lost some of our audience.
Right. They think that it's comedy's fault. It's stand-up.
Yeah.
It's stand-up that's bad.
Yeah. And to a degree, it's not stand-up itself's fault, but it is the club's fault for being willing to book these people simply because they sell tickets, not because they're good, not because they're actually funny. And that's why I think it's cool that he actually is working on getting better and having someone write for him, because at least then, if somebody does accidentally come to this show and watch it, they'll go, well, that wasn't bad. I'll still give comedy a chance.
Yeah, it's important. I think, okay, so I'm always thinking about opening a comedy club. It's kind of a little bit of a dream to open a comedy club. But what about opening a club that's for these type of people?
TikTokers, yeah.
TikTokers, influencers, for their fans to go and I guess they perform something, but for there to be a decided like line that we're gonna
a boundary where it's like this is not stand up. This is I mean, I feel like these people should just do meet and greets. You would make more money if it was just a meet and greet. I don't think it's because that's the whole point of it, is that nobody's coming to the show watching them and then going, all right, cool, I'm going to head out. They're watching the show. They're getting through the show. They're sitting through a show.
Just so that they
have a chance to talk to them after. Like, just fucking do a meet and greet. Because I've seen that before where influencers will just schedule meet and greets.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be like maybe a couple of bands or something.
Right.
And then, there's some music, and then it's a meet and greet, and you buy tickets to meet and talk to this person, and then you can buy their merch, and you can do all the shit that they actually want to do without sullying stand-up.
Yeah. Why can't comedy clubs do that, where it's like, okay, if you buy a ticket to this comedy show, you're going to get to meet this famous TikToker that you want to meet, but they're not going to perform stand-up because they're not a stand-up comedian. And why would you want to watch them do something that they're not skilled at?
But it's always the greed for more attention. There's always that I want more attention. TikTok attention isn't enough for me. I need to also be a comedian because I can do it because I can speak.
Right.
And that's the accessibility of stand-up is awful.
And it's like the hot boyfriend or girlfriend who thinks they're funny because their significant other tells them how funny they are because they love them, and then we have these people's fans telling them that they're funny because they love their videos.
Yeah.
And
gaslighting people into thinking they're funny. And it's like, sure, I've seen that guy's TikToks. They're good. They're funny. I think they are.
And he writes his own TikToks, right?
Yeah. And they're informative. They're interesting. It's refreshing kind of to see honesty from inside the healthcare system about how bad it is dealing with insurance, dealing with ridiculous patients, also dealing with ridiculous doctors.
Yeah.
I think that it's good content, but I don't think it should be stand up.
Well, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Now the only way to really get good at stand up is to do it, right?
Yeah.
And to do it for people who don't know who you are,
exactly.
right?
Going to open mics, doing shows where people don't know, doing hard shows, doing bar shows.
Right. And now this guy, this doctor guy, I'm sure he could go to any open mic and most people won't know who he is, right? I mean, he has his following, but he's not
super famous.
Super famous to where like he can't go to open mic and practice.
No.
But he won't because it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's such a humbling experience
to go from. To do that.
Nobody wants to do that.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Maybe that would be a good reality show where it's like you take famous TikTokers that either already headline clubs or want to headline clubs.
And you make them do open mics.
Make them do open mics.
Yeah, that'd be really funny. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah, I might have to edit that out. I don't want anyone to steal that. But also, I don't have the means to even start how to. We don't even have our own home. You know, we live in a bedroom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, those fucking aggressive people at the Walmart today asking for donations for breast cancer. Like, it makes me, like, don't do that. Because you being like this makes me kind of care a little bit less about breast cancer, honestly.
Yeah, and I didn't think I could care any less about breast cancer.
I'm an ass man. Why would I give a fuck?
Well, but breast cancer kills the whole woman, though, and then the ass goes, too.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
So I care.
Yeah, it's hard being like a girl with only titties because you never really hear about a woman getting ass cancer and having to get her ass cheek cut off.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't happen.
Well, there's colon cancer.
Yeah,
my grandma died that way.
In the hole.
But it wasn't cheek related.
You can get your colon. Here's the thing, though. Usually, like, as far as I'm aware, with colon cancer, what they do is, like, they'll remove that part of your colon and then you get a stoma. But you still got an ass.
Right, the cheeks don't even.
You still got a fatty. Like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as a tit woman, it's like, all right, well, I have these, but also there's a pretty decent chance that I might lose them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no security.
Can you get insurance? I'm sure you can get insurance on them, right?
I wish. I should get my titties insured.
I know J-Lo's ass is insured.
Is it?
She has ass insurance.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. Smart.
Allstate. Your ass is in my hands. Yeah. And it's like, titties are less popular. Also, I might have to get them cut off.
Well, they are right now. It's like a trend. I mean, it goes back and forth, right, through time.
I don't know.
Or do you think that the time of ass is?
The time of ass is coming. I don't know if titties are gonna make a comeback.
But one thing about titties is that
the thing about
you can show your face better in a titty picture.
That's why ass is more popular, because a lot of people don't have face. And so if you don't have a face, you can still post your ass, and you don't have to worry about your face ruining it.
Face can ruin titties quicker than ass.
Yes, absolutely.
An ass can ruin a face, though.
Ass can be made. Ass can be, not through just surgery, because titties can be made through surgery. But I think ass surgery, it's harder to tell than titty surgery usually.
Yeah.
People get fake asses, and it's a lot more passable than fake tits. And you can work out and you can get an ass. And I think that's why it's so popular, because you can DIY that shit.
Yeah, there's videos.
It's a lot easier.
How to have an ass.
Unless you have like a very specific body type, like me, where you just can't get an ass even through working out. It's just like your hips are wrong and the muscle is like small. And anyways, like most people, if they work out, can get an ass. You can't, if you don't have titties, there's not much you can do outside of get fake tits. Yeah.
Well, Asian women, right? Because that's where your these genes come from. Is like, that now they might have small asses, but they can still, if they do exercise and stuff, like they'll have like an ass that's just small.
I can have a shapely ass, yes, if I worked on it, but it will never be big, and big is kind of in.
Yeah.
People care more about big than the shape of your. I see fucking giant sloppy asses.
I think it's easier to, but it's easier to achieve big. But if you don't have a big ass and you have it shapely, now it's rare. It's hard. It takes a lot of, you got to diet, exercise, do a lot
Yeah.
to achieve that.
It's just the thing is though is that
I think that's why it's rare. Is that it's harder
the ass being big is always almost always more important than ass being nice. Because you'll see a girl with just a giant sloppy ass, like looks like 2 scoops of mashed potatoes, and everybody's like, she got a fat ass,
That's
fat
true.
ass.
Yeah.
And then a girl has a shapely ass, they're like, she has a nice ass.
Okay.
Nice is said with a lot less excitement.
That's
because
Black and Hispanics are louder.
That's funny, but even white men too.
Sure,
We've lost
but,
our demographic. Titty girls have lost their demographic of even white men, frat boys and shit. They want fat asses now too.
Not all of them.
Not
right?
all of them, obviously, but mostly. The only people that still love titties are old white men.
You don't think everyone loves titties?
Everybody loves titties, but not as much as they love ass. All right.
Old white men, but now you mean prefer titties, and don't you want a guy, you like a guy who doesn't care about ass at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't even look when I walk away, you know?
The ass doesn't even exist, and like they've
Yeah.
never even heard of
They're
ass.
like, that's for pooping.
Right.
That's not for looking at. That's for function.
Yeah. That would be your perfect man.
Yeah, if I could just give you the right kind of brain damage where like you just forget what an ass even is.
Right. And I have to be blind too. Blind me, so I can't see asses.
Yeah, no, the brain damage, so that you don't even you don't process them as even being a sexual
Every time
thing.
an ass
I want to give
of,
you brain damage in a way that makes you look at asses the same way you look at elbows.
Or how about every time that ass enters my line of sight, it's blurred, so I can't even really. It's just there's a filter.
Yeah.
That's been
like
put on.
like Asian porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking Asian porn. You're blurring the pussy. You need to blur that flat ass.
They don't blur even the asshole in Asian porn.
Is it just the pussy and dick?
It's just the pussy and dick, correct. But yeah, they don't blur ass, and maybe that's because ass is not considered in Asia, because it's rare. The genetics for fat ass is like, they see a black person, they all stare like it's a different species.
Yeah.
It's so foreign to them. So fat asses are not even part of their culture.
Honestly, like, I think Asians are so hardworking because most of the fun genes we don't have. So like the genes for a fat ass, not there.
Yeah.
The genes to process alcohol, not there. A lot of Asians can't drink at all because they get sick, and that's why they're so hardworking and focused, because genetically we can't have the same fucking vices. And that's why weed is illegal, I think, in Asia, because they know weed is the one thing that could throw them off.
Yeah.
They're like not allowed.
Right, because it might change their culture. It might break them.
They might have fucking fun for once in their life.
Interesting. Right. So
but yeah, I mean, you don't hear about as many Asian alcoholics as you do white or any other race, because the genes make it like I don't think I could ever be an alcoholic, just because drinking is such kind of a miserable experience for me a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There's specifically I can have just liquor, which a lot of places don't even have, like breweries and shit. And when I start drinking and I'm like in the buzzed stage, I'm very I'm hot, I'm uncomfortable, I have like hot flight. It feels like I'm going through menopause to get drunk. And then when I finally get drunk, that's nice for like 2 hours. And then usually I get sick if I keep drinking.
Yeah.
Or I get so fucking sleepy and I just sleep.
Yeah. Maybe if we're healthier, then it won't affect you the same way if we're like
No, I mean, alcohol's always been like that for me. When I was small, when I was fat, no matter which way I was.
Yeah.
When I was at a normal weight, eating somewhat normally, it's always been that way, where I feel shitty while I'm drinking, and then I'm drunk, and it's kind of cool for like a couple hours, and then I just pass out. Like, I've never passed out in public, but like I'm so tired, like I'll just like lay my head down and like I need to shut my eyes, and I get the spins. And
yeah, I do think it is an Asian thing.
Yeah, because my mom is the same way.
Right. Your mom...
My mom gets fucked up off of one beer.
Okay. So I think it's an Asian thing because, like, so Native Americans, right, the theory is that they have Asian they're Native Americans in
because they
North
walked
America,
across
the Bering Strait.
Yeah.
And also then like Peruvians have more Asian in them, or Mexicans, and then black people, then white people, and the most like drunk, like have no like control of their body, just like the most affected people from alcohol that I've ever seen was in Peru. Like the kind of drunk that they get to where it's like they're like just like stumbling all over and just like a complete mess has always been in Peru. And then in Wisconsin, you might see people getting mad. They'll get mad. They'll get in fights. They'll start to like be aggressive and like get thrown out of places. And like that happens first for like the Germanic people. It's like people that are from like Northern Europe. So it's like Nords, right, from Skyrim. It's like they all get angry and destructive before they would make it to the where it's like they've become just like a puddle of just like nothing.
I feel like as far as like angry drunks, I've met more angry white drunks than I have angry Hispanic drunks.
Yeah.
Because most of the Hispanics I've seen that are super drunk, it's like they just get very like giggly and silly and horny sometimes. They'll hit on an 8-year-old or whatever. But
not good.
Also not good. But it's like it's not the same kind of like aggressive, angry. I'm not drunk, like that shit. Also, you ever notice how almost everyone on intervention is white?
Yeah. Well, it's like
I think there's honestly
it's a white thing.
On intervention, there's like definitely two types of people on intervention after watching it for a while. There's like people that have legit trauma that happened to them, usually as a child, like just bad shit happened to them and they're drinking to deal with that. And then there's the people that come from rich ass families that didn't have any rules growing up, that they were a cheerleader, they were popular, and then they just started drinking, and then they got enabled their whole life by their family because that's our princess, she's our princess, she's so special, and they never do anything about it. And that's like those people, I'm like, let her die, No, but it's like I have a very hard time having any sympathy for those people where it's like they're like, well, like one girl, she actually said like, well, like a lot of people have bad stuff happen to them, but I had a good childhood, nothing bad ever happened to me. I don't know, it was good. And it's like,
I know you hate the people in that like for you, when someone says stuff like that, you direct your hatred at the person, and I don't do that. I think about the culture and how we can change the way that this type of family is running. So like,
well, it's like the rich. Sorry.
Okay.
They just don't hold their kids accountable.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that in white culture, it's a lot more common to lie, to keep a lie going, to you whisper, you tell secrets, you keep secrets for years. You don't tell someone that they're the father for years, or that they're not the father for years, or you have a brother and blah 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 in this other country, and it's like they're way more protective. It's like it definitely is in America like a white culture thing to like lie, pretend, and act like everything is always okay. There is no problems.
There's always a facade.
Yeah. Oh, your dad's not drunk. He's sleepy. You know.
Yeah.
And I would say probably definitely the most is probably in black culture. It's the truth. It's and I think that might be also part of why it's like if a black family is together, it seems like having more fun than when like a white family gets together.
Yeah, of course.
And they're like making fun of each other and everything with like the truth, but we love each other, so it's okay. It's okay to make fun of someone getting fat because we love each other. That's understood. In a white party, you make fun of someone being fat.
It's not really a party.
Right. Or a get-together, I guess.
Yeah, reunion is the funnest word I would use for that shit.
Making a fat joke at a white reunion, it could be like
It could ruin the whole thing.
Right. Someone will take you to the side and be like, we don't...
That's not appropriate.
That's not appropriate.
We don't acknowledge our problems.
Right.
We like to pretend that everything is okay. It's like nobody... And they're like, that's our business. That's our business. And it's like, well, I mean, there is something unifying in the family knowing each other's business, as far as like
Right.
knowing what's going on, whose dad is around, whose
Yeah.
isn't, whose mom is on drugs, whose mom is a hooker.
Yeah.
Like, knowing all of that, it's like, yeah, sure, like, for making jokes about it. But also, your family can't offer support if they don't know what's going on.
Right. How can you really love someone if you don't know them?
Yeah. And I
And
think that's why I don't feel any connection to my family, because I found out shit. Anything I ever found out about, like, any like drama or trauma or anything like that, I never found it out from the person it happened to.
mm-hmm.
I always found it out in a hushed kind of manner
Right.
from somebody else. Like, oh, well, you know, he went to prison for this. Oh, well, you know that his dad isn't really his dad, and this and that. And, like, it was all very, like, and don't tell anyone. You're not even supposed to know this.
Right, and that's not why you don't even get to know about your dad barely.
Yeah.
Because everything's hush hush and
yeah,
nobody's willing to.
Yeah, like I didn't even know he had been to prison until after he died, and my mom told me, well, you know, like this happened, and I'm like, no, I don't know that happened. Nobody told me that shit. He never told me. I understand him not telling me, because he died when I was 15, and I think that's kind of young to tell your daughter, especially with what happened, like,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like, I don't know.
It kind of implies that if you would know that he'd been to prison,
Yeah.
that would mean that there's
it would
no way
affect
you'd
my
love
for him. I
right.
would still love him. He's still my dad.
Right.
I think, yeah, and I think that part of that is because my relationship with my mom is so rocky. I think that there's probably a lot of stuff she's never told me, because she knows that I have not a lot of respect for her, just out of the way that she's treated me, the way that I've seen her treat others, the way that I've seen her treat my brothers. She knows that I don't have a lot of respect for her, and that me talking to her is very tentative of itself. And yeah, there's probably some stuff, if I found out, I wouldn't want to talk to her anymore. And so she thinks that's how every relationship is. Because even like what happened with her and her dad, whenever her dad, when she was like 2, took her and her brother from her mom in Thailand and just took them back to America, he would never talk about it. Never, like, not once. He would never acknowledge it. He would never talk about it. He never gave a legitimate reason for doing it. It was a secret. And it's like, my mom never knew her own mother, and that was a secret. That's a giant fucking secret to have to, like, hang on. And she's just like, that's what families are. They're built on lies.
Well, okay, so we watch Hoarders a lot lately. And I feel like in a relationship, you could almost make a metaphor with lies and with, like, muck and garbage and shit that's in your home that makes it unlivable.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you get used to lying to each other, every lie becomes like a little mess in a home. And that after there's so many lies, it's like we can't even be in this relationship because there's so many lies that this relationship is built on. And now we're so scared that one of us is gonna start
slip up,
cleaning and being like, and then it's gonna be a bunch of or slip up,
and we're gonna find the rat shit.
Right, but you have to, right? In order to clean up, you have to take the big tarp out and let all the rats run out, and all the shit, everything. You have to clean it, and and it's not fun, and it's accumulation of pain, and you either do that, and then that is a relationship, or you don't have a relationship.
Yeah, I think that's part of why I'm very honest about stuff like that's happened to me. Some might call it oversharing, but like, whenever people ask about stuff, like, I have no problem telling anyone any of my shit, because I grew up completely the opposite way, where it's nobody ever talked about anything. My brothers didn't know how their grandpa died for like 3 fucking years. They never knew that the dude hung himself.
Yeah.
They told him he had cancer or some shit. And so it's like,
you overshare because it feels good.
It feels good. It's cathartic. It's like, yeah, and I think that that's not good either. I don't think it's good how much I overshare, especially if I've been drinking or smoking. It's like, I'll tell anybody anything, you know? But then also it's kind of freeing, because it's like, what, you're gonna make fun of me? Well, whatever, you know everything about me. I don't care.
One day you might get to the point where you could tell your mom the truth.
Maybe.
And that will feel great.
Yeah.
And, it might lead to her not ever talking to you again.
I just want to
It
get
might
off their
lead to
health
her,
insurance first.
right. So yeah, but one day I think you have your own everything. You have your own health insurance. You have your own. You'll never.
Yeah.
You would can.
When I'm much older, definitely.
Or at least
30.
much more successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you won the lottery, you'd probably call her up right away.
You're a bitch. No.
That's not even
that's
close
not
to
it.
good enough.
Yeah, that's not. You're a bitch is an understatement.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, it's anytime, because there's been, like, smaller stuff that I've tried to bring up to them that hurt me a lot, and they always go, well, I don't remember that. And it's because there's a saying, the tree remembers what the axe forgets. They don't remember this traumatic thing happening. They don't remember saying this thing that fucked you up for years, because for them, it was just another Tuesday.
And it's so
it
easy
wasn't
to say
significant.
that. It's so easy to say that you, or to say, "Oh, I was drunk." And
I don't remember.
It's so easy to say.
It's so long ago.
Or it was so long ago. Even if they do remember, or they'll say that it was so long ago.
Just denying any accountability, denying that it could have even happened.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad does that, or used to, or he probably would still do it if I try to bring up things. I'm like, hey, remember when you did this to me?
Yeah.
And be like, I don't remember that. It's like, okay, so I'm making it up. I mean, when have I ever made anything up?
Yeah.
You know, I've never been that person.
Yeah, it's one of the most frustrating responses. I would rather somebody try to justify it and acknowledge that they did it.
Or even just say that I don't care.
Yeah, even that would be better. Like the guy that sexually assaulted me, when I tell him, he goes, "Oh, well, I don't remember. I was really drunk. I don't remember at all." And it's like,
you'd rather him be like, "Yeah, and
you deserved it, bitch." I would rather I would rather that, honestly.
Right, because at least you're given the
kind of closure in a way.
Yeah, or the respect. You're given the respect to not be called a liar.
Yeah.
Not to be called crazy.
Yeah.
You know, just be like, yeah, I hate you. I would rather I hate you, and I'm glad I abused you than I don't
it never
remember
happened.
That. So please just treat me like it didn't happen. It's like,
yeah.
Well, something has to happen here. This is a fork in our relationship. We either begin to heal, and you can't heal from stuff if you don't accept that it happened. Yeah. And so,
because I think I feel like there have been times where people told me I said or did something to them, and I honestly didn't remember. But I'll always just be like, oh, well, shit, I don't remember that, but I'm really sorry that I did that. Like, that's terrible.
Is it even worth saying that you don't remember? If they're saying it, and you know that if you believe them, is it even worth to be like, I don't remember, or if they just be like, just give them the benefit of the doubt and just go into apologizing or trying to understand what you did, and I mean, luckily, there's not many things.
Yeah, I've never been told there's nothing major I've done. It's just like you said something to me that was kind of shitty. Like that's the most it's ever been.
Yeah, I remember someone said, was like, yeah, someone doesn't like you, so and so doesn't like you, and I was like, oh, why is that? And they're like, oh, because you said this thing to them, or like you said something crap. It's always vague. It's like you said
somebody was telling me that I was talking about them to someone else,
and at first I was like, I don't remember that, but I took the time to like try to think, and then I remembered it, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna apologize for that because I don't. It was like I was in the green room. It was a show I was producing.
Yeah.
And someone was like, when are we going to start? And I was like really stressed out. And I was like, we're going to start whenever I say. And like they took it as me being like condescending or being like. But I was just really stressed out because like people weren't arriving or there was a lot
hosting
of very
is
stressful
fucking
things.
Stressful.
Well, I was producing it.
Yeah.
And hosting it probably.
Yeah.
I think I was just producing that
Even
one.
just that's stressful.
And one of the most stressful things is when there's people that are outside of the show and it's starting, but like they have tickets and it's like there's a big group of 10 people, but they all are having a good time outside or smoking or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know that like you want to start the show on time, but also you want the audience to be. So maybe you just start the show and then hopefully they come in.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a lot of times that's what the host should do is just start the show on time.
Yeah.
and then just let the crowd come in. But anyways, that's I digress. But I found out what I said and why they were upset with me.
Yeah.
And I thought like, okay, well if they're gonna be upset with me for months or years afterwards, it's not really worth. If it wasn't that, there'd be something else. They're looking for reasons not to like. So then I let that go. But I really wanted to remember. I mean, and it's putting the work in.
Yeah.
And to remember things that could be embarrassing or make you feel less than, And I think, with my dad, remember we had this one dinner one time, and we were having a conversation about memories and like, sometimes I'll kind of tell him these things that he did that he's not taking account for. And he says that, well, I black out a lot of memories, especially like he does, he says, with his dad.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't, then he would be depressed.
That's not healthy either.
Of course not. But now there's an argument that it works for him, and it makes him able to focus on work, focus on...
But it makes it worse for everyone else.
It does make it worse for... It makes it worse for me.
Yeah.
And then it makes me... Thing is, painful to talk to him.
Yeah, and if you get in the habit of blacking out, say bad things that happen to you, you're also going to black out bad shit that you did, because if you have guilt for something, it's a lot easier than addressing that guilt and being like, you know what, that was shitty. Let me grow from that, but let me also acknowledge the shame I feel for it, the guilt, the embarrassment that I feel for doing this. It's a lot easier to just go and just black it out. But then also, like, you're not being accountable. You're not working through it. You're not, apologizing or acknowledging it or growing from it.
There is a happy medium, though, because...
you don't want to dwell on shit.
That's what my mom does. My mom dwells on things for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And she's like the opposite of my dad. So, like, she doesn't work because of the depression.
Yeah.
Because of the constant dwelling, the constant guilt, the shame. And so I don't think that, that's good either, obviously. So, like, for me to learn from my parents is to be able to do both. Be able to not dwell on things that make me not want to work.
Yeah.
Not dwell on things that make me depressed. And then just, like, drink or eat or do stuff to, like, cover it. But also don't... what was the other half? Don't dwell, but also...
Don't black it out.
No.
Don't forget.
Right. Yeah. Don't dwell, but don't forget.
Don't refuse to acknowledge it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have a tendency... Well, I have a tendency to dwell, and that's a problem.
It makes you depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you're always trying to make connections to stuff, at least in my brain.
Yeah.
So I will assume the worst of an outcome because of what's happened in the past and the way, well, this person's acting this way, last person that did that did this to me. So I'm not going to give this person a chance because they're reminding me of this person that did this to me.
Right. I think that dwelling, it's like it makes you feel depressed, right?
Yeah, of course.
But, like, you never like solve the thing. Like when we dwell about things that make us depressed, okay, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, okay, maybe I don't like the way I look right now. And if I dwell on that, it'll make me too depressed to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a struggle.
So if you don't like the way you look, do something about it. Because dwelling and feeling shame and being depressed is literally why you look like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of the reason why it's so hard for me to go to the gym is because I dwell so much on what I look like currently and how embarrassed I am of how I look, especially how embarrassed I am of exercising. Because my parents made fun of me when I exercise because they said I look stupid, I run stupid, I move stupid. So my body's shitty.
Well, look at Spicy. You ever see her run? She looks stupid.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just like you.
I'm glad you think I look like our fat fucking dog, our 13-pound chihuahua.
But she's so sweet.
No, she is. She's a sweetheart. I love her. But yeah, it's hard because it's so like present in my brain that I can't get past it a lot of the time to go do anything about it.
Yeah, and I think maybe if you were able to have these uncomfortable conversations with your mom where you force her to like have it like talk about these things so that you're not dwelling on them, so that they're not still hurting you. And I think it's the only way to get past it, really, is to talk to her about it.
Yeah, I think my other fear is her just doing the whole I don't remember or I don't give
No,
a
I
shit.
know, and that's a total that's a possibility, and you have to be ready for that too.
Yeah.
And then just be like, okay, well, how about this?
I think it would hurt. It would kind of hurt more to tell her, like, you said this to me and it really affected me and it fucked me up. And she goes, stop being sensitive. And then that hurts even more because it's like she didn't care enough to say this. And also she doesn't care that it even hurt me.
So you have to be ready for that, and you have to be prepared for that not to hurt you, because you know where it's coming from. It's coming from her fear. So you have to be able to bring it up, the painful thing, and then if she says that, you say, okay, good day, miss, I'm leaving. And then just completely, like, don't talk to her for as long as, you feel is, and then the next time you do talk to her, you do that again and see if she's willing to keep on sacrificing her relationship with you for her pride.
Absolutely, she is.
Well,
but I mean, but I don't know.
Maybe she won't be if you gotta hold her to the fire a little bit.
Yeah.
And she might be now, but maybe it's years, maybe it's 10 years. But if you tell her that,
maybe someday when she's dying, she'll be like, "I'm sorry" or something.
Well, that'll probably happen for sure, but I'm sure that you'd like to have a better relationship with her before that, if possible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But, whenever you find the courage and you find like you're ready to do it, it would be helpful to you in your life so that you'd be able to go for a jog without thinking about your mom or, eat in public or whatever, these things.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's why it was easier for me to be bulimic than it was to go work out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, nobody can see me in the bathroom.
I think people should be able to be bulimic, but you got to do it in public. The show's about to start. We gotta head on out of this parking lot.
Man, can you imagine being bulimic at the hibachi place?
Oh, wasn't that in that?
Yeah, that post.
Yeah, that
the
post.
Kid threw up and it cooked it.
Oh. No. Well, if it was like recently thrown up, it might still smell good. It's not too digested.
If you throw up food fast enough, it's just food.
Yeah, it's just a shrimp that's been mushed up, and now it's probably even better.
Yeah.
The flavors have married, and
I'd like to swallow things whole and then throw it up and then chew it on the way out. And
have you?
No. No.
Well, that was a good podcast. No.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Can't Stop, Should Stop. Thank you for listening. Episode something. Here outside of Kill Tony.
Yeah.
We're gonna go.
Sit for 2 hours and not get pulled and talk to some freaks.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, watching. Peace out.
Bye.